Hello buddy on YouTube, this is David for the Wicca channel. I'm having some videos coming up very shortly, within the next day or two, on Candle Magique and House Magique and magical lores and legends for your household to make it more witchy. But first, while my computer's doing its thing to get these movies ready to upload to YouTube, I thought I'd take 10 minutes today to talk about the decline in Christianity. I just want to go ahead and pull this up, and there's a story behind this. I stopped at a local gas station where I go to every other day for the past 5 years. Apparently this is how long it took them to notice my necklace and the clothes that I wear. Now, the clothes have no basis on Wicca whatsoever. They're just very comfortable, snuggy material. I enjoy it and I wear it. And when I'm not at work and I'm here on my property, this is what I wear, and you know, it's my own personal preference. And there's been a couple people that dislike it and said some rude comments about it, but in all honesty, you know, this is my life, my property. This is what I want to do. This is the way I want to dress. If you don't like it, you can suck my balls. What I wanted to discuss is the decline of Christianity and why it's declining. Now, even Christians will admit to this. I was listening to a radio talk show that's famous down here in the deep, deep South, talking about the projections of droppage in the percentage of Christians from 1960 up until the current day today. And back in 1960, the percentage spread of Christianity was 60%, and now here we are with the next generation in 2010, and it is only 4%. And so we have to ask ourselves, why is it 4%? And these conjectures are just my own personal beliefs, my own personal ideas. They may not agree with you. You may disagree with it. That's fine, to each his own. But not necessarily point out your opinion in a hostile manner. I have no problems with Christians as long as they do not disrespect me or my beliefs or the way I prefer to live my life with my family and the children that we are raising. However, when several Christians out there come across hateful, disrespectful, then what negative energy they send me gets bounced back to them, so I don't have to deal with it. And then they get blocked. So, why do I feel Christianity has dropped and is only down to 4% spread this generation compared to in 1960, where it was 60%? And these are the basic ideas that I have for the curriculum that I brought up and why it's coming out and produced in such a way. If you take the practical application of Christianity and you look at it from what is taught in church, it's a really, really great religion. It can be beautiful. But what you see is a change in the way Christians perform their actions and practical application of this matter compared to, say, what it was in the 1920s or 30s when they were into spiritualism, where they actually played with the witch boards and the Ouija boards, where they actually had seances, so on and so forth. Even most of our presidents in the United States and their wives were very into this spiritualism back in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s. So you have to look at where it is, and it's turning to a fundamentalist ideal is where it's going. If you take a look, there's a big difference from the way people perceive Christianity now as to what it was back in the 1960s. And the professor on this radio show had it completely backwards, as in trying to prove the existence of Jesus. I'm sorry, but that's a straw man argument in the first place. You can't prove or disprove the existence of Jesus Christ or of a God in general. You can't prove it, you can't disprove it. There is a good argument for each side, well, for the most part anyway. Some of these arguments that really hurt the Christian faith and Christians are the ones that say that they can prove that Jesus existed with historical evidence. And I'm sorry, but there is none. There is no historical evidence for Jesus Christ. They can bring up the Dead Sea Scrolls, they can bring up tablets here and there, but there is not one hand account from a person of that time that said, hey, I met Jesus Christ and this is what he did. They're always second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand accounts. They've been rewritten so many times, people are scratching their heads wondering what is what. Which is brought up, can you prove or disprove? So either which way, it's not feasible. I don't see it as being practical. What they should be focusing on is their own faith instead of trying to disprove or not prove. That's why I like Wicca so much, is that Wiccans, pagans, who have their belief in their gods or goddesses or whatever versions they seem to put into manifestation, they will tell you, hey, I don't know 100%, but this is what I believe, this is what I feel, and this is how I see it. And they won't sit there and say, no, you're wrong, your religion's wrong, you need to follow it this way. That's one turn off for a lot of people who have been trying to convert over into Christianity, is that they're being strong-armed. They're trying to say, this is the one and only way, there is no other way, you have to follow this. And that hurts them. I mean, it really does. If they were more laid back, and they did as many pagans do, and many Wiccans do, then they wouldn't be losing so many members today. Other things that hurt them is this crazy fundamentalist bullshit that I see on YouTube, I see in the news. We got the Watari, or whoever the hell they are, the Yatari, who are threatening to blow up cops at a funeral for a dead cop. And then you have the witch children in Nigeria, which at this point I am looking into adopt. To give a couple of them a home here in the U.S. We'll see how that goes, because my heart goes out to them, and if I had them, I'd love them to death. So you see the fundamentalist aspects coming in. You see what a lot of these churches do. And there was one on here, his Lamb 25 and was named David the Catholic. Both sent me letters saying that they hate witches and that witches should be drug out in the street and shot and so on and so forth. And then I go around and do background checks on them. One of them's looking at a vibrator website for a female, saying that it must be good to take it in the other end, or whatever exactly it says that he does. And other one's looking at websites that aren't very Christian, and there's one of them talking about how his penis is 9 inches long, and I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's hypocrisy. Kind of give me a break on that. And no one's perfect. Hey, I'll be the first one to admit it. But that looks really, really bad if you claim to be a devout Christian and believe Jesus and love Jesus so much, but you're looking at vibrator websites. So that hurts. Is a lot of hypocrites in the religion of Christianity claiming to be following Jesus, and one of Jesus's commandments that he spoke is love yourself like you would your neighbor. Come and follow me, sell your possessions, and you will have treasures in heaven. So you look at that, and you don't see a lot of Christians doing that. Most of the Christians I have come across are hateful. Now, I'm not sure if this is because they feel that I'm trying to turn them away from Christianity, but I believe from what I've seen, that's the way they're being wired, is that they're being taught that witches are evil, witches are against God, and thenceforth against them. But this is simply not the case. Many Wiccans do believe in a creator, and they look at it many different ways, and how they choose to perceive it and practice is at their own discretion and part of their personal life in their path that they're walking, and it's no one else's business but them. So if you're being harassed by Christians that you need to get saved in this way, then that's a very narrow-minded way of thinking, because looking into the Bible, there are several steps you have to take to get into heaven, and one of those is a story that Jesus was telling to a very wealthy man, that he had to sell all his possessions and follow him. Now, whether that's taken out of text or not, I don't know. I'm not a Christian. But if Jesus is saying to sell everything you have and to follow him in order to get into heaven, then that's the example that people should get. But instead, what I've seen from many Christians is they have to have the biggest house, the nicest car, the most luxurious swimming pool. They have to have this.